Go ahead.
Hi everybody, my name's Owen. Most of you already know that. So my project is Reach for the Vote. I'm going to call it that. I don't really have a name. That's just what I'm calling it. It's basically, the whole entire idea behind it is to get people to vote and to have people participate in the whole entire process of voting. And through this, I engaged with people in high school and I made a lot of phone calls. But I just wanted to get into why I chose to do this project. And to me, it's pretty personal. It's like when I see people just doing wrong by us. You see corrupt politicians, every day now. It's like you read the paper, you have people like Sheldon Silver or a bunch of the people in the assembly, or people even in Congress that are getting filed on corruption charges. It really, really irks me. And, I feel like those people wouldn't get into power if, the whole entire population was aware of what type of person they were. And, the only way that's going to happen is if people start voting from a pretty young age and keep on voting. So that's really what my project is. And so the problem is, can you go to the next slide? Well, this is what so you don't have to read all of that, but just to remind you the statistics. So just as a general trend, people across the U.S. have been voting less since the 60s. Dramatically, it's pretty dramatic. And, this is actually pretty particular in Dutchess County specifically. One of the statistics that I like is only about 16% of Dutchess County's residents are voting. I pulled that off of the Dutchess County Board of Elections, and I made a bunch of phone calls to find these figures. And if we only have 16% of people going, that means that only 16% of the population is representative. And to me, that's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So I kind of thought, how are we going to get this to change? And one of the biggest objects to kids voting is that they say, I don't know how. How am I supposed to do this? What's the whole process? And though we have civics classrooms, sometimes it's more of teaching towards tests or APs or whatnot, and sometimes that doesn't get covered, or the kids aren't aware enough of the specifics of their local municipality to know how to vote. So that's why I decided to make these posters. And the whole entire idea behind the posters is it tells you exactly where you need to vote, and all across the county for all the kids in the school district, so you can show up into your civics classroom or your civic engagement and leadership classroom, and you can go and look at this map and say, oh, I live in District 2, and I'm going to go vote at, I don't know, the Grange Fire Department. That's where I do my vote. And I can just bring in my registration form, 25 days before the election, and then I can vote. And it's as simple as that. And so when people know these things, they're probably more likely to vote. So that's what I've decided to do. And so I started off, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, because I've always really had a focus on politics. It's always been about how are we going to improve the world, how are we going to figure out how to solve big picture issues. And so when I came into this class, I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but over the course of this year, I figured out what I wanted to do, and this is really it. And so in the beginning, it wasn't immediately clear. I thought, hey, I'm going to distribute voter registration forms. I'm going to do a voter registration drive. And, some of those ideas fell through because of time constraints, but over the course of it, I had to make a lot of phone calls, had to get a lot of abrupt answers, and, then I finally developed this. And really, that just involves me calling a few friends that knew the boundaries of the Arlington School District and talking to some people from the County Board of Elections. And that's pretty much what happened. And then I worked for a couple weekends making these, and then I just brought them out to the high school. And to a certain degree, my project isn't over. It's something that I want to continue doing. I wanted to do it for Arlington, but I also want to do it for other high schools. Can you go to the next slide? Actually, two slides. 3 slides. Okay, so, yeah, I know. So I think it's pretty important, most immediately. I see that if I can get, this type of poster into the city of Poughkeepsie, I think that might have a real big impact. Because the city of Poughkeepsie is pretty bad for voter participation too. I mean, and it's in the city of Poughkeepsie. It's most valuable because they really depend on the government. You know, when a lot of people live together in the community, they really have to engage together, otherwise they're going to have some serious problems that comes with having a large concentration of people in a small area. Also, I think Red Hook's a pretty good area to look into. Smack-and-Kill, it's a smaller district, so I feel like that could be very accomplishable. And, you know, I started off with a very ambitious project, and I don't know. I feel like I could have done a lot more. I feel like I can do a lot more. And, you know, that's one thing that I do want to work on. Because though I accomplished something, and I think I'm going to have an impact, I mean, thousands of kids are going to see the posters, I just feel like there's more that can be done. So, if you want to say, okay, he went out and made a difference and he, you know, gave posters to people, then that's definitely true. As far as leadership, I define leadership as setting an example for others that you would want them to follow. And to me, that really meant going out and doing something that engaged with the community, being an example to the community. And I went out and I did something, wasn't particularly like arduous. I didn't like go and champion a bill through Congress. I did something that anybody could have done. Anybody could have gone out and, you know, talked to people and see what needed to get done. So that's what I did. And when you have people that want to get stuff done, it gets done. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, actually that was a really awfully worded point. That was absolutely horrible.
We'll cut it off the video.
Edit it a lot. How my project relates to civic engagement and leadership is that it's very easy. It's a project that impacts a lot of people. It's having long-term impact, and it's going to help people out in the long term with very measurable metrics. In this coming election, I'm going to see how many people vote in our county, and hopefully it's increased from 16%. So that's how I goes. And I think through this project, I realized that unless we all give in the effort, nothing's going to happen. There isn't enough impetus for people to go out and make change because a lot of people are invested in the status quo. So it's really important for you, all the kids in civic and leadership, to go and do the projects that you are doing and go engage with the community. Thank you.
Nice job.